Hello, and welcome to the Nonprofits. I'm Stephen Harder, joined today by my co-hosts Flabbergasted and Tracy. Today, I bring you good tidings from Canada. A judge has ruled that a priest accused of sexual misconduct should face trial in civil court rather than being shuffled off to an internal church tribunal. Justice Evelyn Tenkate of the Ontario Superior Court of Justice decided that Father Thomas Rosica and the Basilian Fathers of Toronto must answer in provincial court after allegations of sexual abuse against another priest were left unaddressed for more than a decade. Defense lawyers argued that the case should go to a canonical court of the Catholic Church, which conveniently offers no compensation to victims and has no external oversight. Justice Tenkate wrote, "In my view, the plaintiff's claim is not essentially doctrinal or ecclesiastical in nature. It is of interest to all Canadians and goes well beyond the eternal matters of the Roman Catholic Church." This article is from Angelus by Gina on August 12th, 2025. This is a positive step forward, I think. This ruling makes it clear that the church rules are not the law of the land, and civil harm has to face civil justice. Flabbergasted, what do you make of all of this?
I'm just really glad to see that someone is holding priests accountable in the Catholic Church, or at least trying to. Like, I'm genuinely concerned that there's still not going to be any justice done. And the fact that it took 10 years of a claim to be ignored before it was brought to a civil case, like, that's so frustrating. But like, the church's canon law is not law. It's the rules in which the church wants to operate under, and like they get to tell their other churches how they operate. But it should never supersede actual law. And the fact that it's taken 10 years for this court case to come to the point where it has means that for the past 10 years, it has been superseding actual law. And I'm so glad like there's something being done finally, but it still needs to be better. But yeah, something's better than nothing. I'll take it.
And that's one of the perks of being able to handle these matters internally, is that if it's up to the church court system, quote unquote, to handle a matter, then there's no regulation for how long a thing could take, because nobody is overseeing that. So they could send it off to church court, and then maybe it'll take a super duper long time for anything to come about from it. So that's not a flaw, it's a feature of the system, and the Justice Deten is not standing for it. This is exactly the line that the court has drawn, that internal discipline is one thing. Crimes and civil wrongs belong in public court. And this isn't happening in a vacuum, right? Like, the Catholic Church has a long history of protecting itself when abuse is alleged. Tracy, how does this strike you here?
It doesn't. It is admittedly new. It's admittedly novel in a few ways, but largely unsurprising and par for the course. There is somebody in a position of power over another one. They've been granted this power through religious means, and they abuse that. And then when that abuse is trying to be rectified, just hiding behind their religion, trying to hide behind the skirts of the other priests. And it's not at all surprising, but I am glad to hear that the Canadian legal system is stepping in and saying, hey, we're going to deal with this. This is a problem for all Canadians, not just you guys.
Yeah, and I still find it mind-boggling, the idea that the church would even think that there is grounds for this. Like, the idea that that there is precedence set for churches to say, yeah, something bad happened, but don't worry, we've got this. This is an internal thing. Like if this was a question of like a priest baptizing someone the wrong way, then yes, absolutely, bring him to church court. Totally, that totally is something that should be handled internally. But when it's like actually motherfucking goddamn harm being done to another person, when there are crimes being committed, the audacity to think that a church thinks that they have the power, the entitlement to say, no, we've got this. Like, no, you clearly don't have this. That's why we are in this situation. And it makes sense when we look way back in history and how long the Catholic Church has predated all of our countries, right? So many countries around the world. And so in those times, and of course, like the church court was the law of the land. And so it makes sense that there would be ancient historic precedents set for churches dealing with matters internally. But that is just not where we are anymore. And I'm glad that that we're able to, at least in this one case, and I don't know what the ratio is, but at least in this one case, the Canadian government is stepping up and saying that is not justice. That is not going to happen. This is so that pattern is why so many have lost trust in this situation. Flabbergasted, what does this conjure up for you?
I mean, first off, it's the fact that something is old, that it gets special precedence, is a load of bullshit, because they're not getting special precedence for being ancient, right? They're being given special precedence for being the Catholic Church. If a Buddhist temple was to show up and demand the same type of treatment, no one would be okay with that. No one, period. Right? No one would be like, oh, sure, the Buddhist temple is engaging in abuse of children, and we'll let them deal with it internally. It's fine. People would lose their fucking minds, justifiably so. But when the Catholic Church does it, it's oh well, and it's not just Catholic Church. The same thing happens to regular other types of Pentecostal churches and to like all the Calvinist churches and Baptist churches. Oh, well, they were a flawed man. They made a mistake and they repented to God, and we'll forgive them, right? As long as you're one of us, as long as you're gonna like reinforce and adhere to the stuff that we think is good, we're gonna let you get away with all of this horrible stuff, because it's not as important, right? And the Catholic Church has a history. It does. It has a very ancient history and a very well-earned reputation for abuse and for protecting abusers. That's the history we need to be looking at. I don't care how long they've been around, because for as long as they've been around, they have been abusing their people. They have been protecting the abusers within their system. How can anyone ever trust an organization to investigate themselves honestly in the case of such atrocities and in the case of such demonstrable history of them brushing real harm and real crimes under the rug?
That answer is easy. You just got to have faith, man. You just got to have faith.
You gotta have faith.
No.
Careful, we don't want the copyright strike.
That was such a short amount of time.
You got to do it off key next time.
But like that, like faith is such a crutch that is so important to so many different expressions of Christianity and of religion. Is just this idea that, well, I just have to hope for the best. I have to hope for the things unseen, and trust that there is a higher power that is looking out for me. And it's absolutely abused and monopolized by systems that have no interest in putting the needs of the powerless ahead of their own power. So this is why civil oversight matters, right? Like that's why we shouldn't be allowing churches to self-govern and self-regulate themselves when it comes to harming others. No institution should be left to police itself when lives are at stake. And at the center of the story is someone speaking up. A priest is making allegations against not only a fellow cleric, but also against the institution, the body above that he went to. He told them that, the allegations, whatever, that there was inappropriate misconduct from one priest to another, and the alleged abuser was in a position of authority. The allegedly victimized priest went to the governing body above and said, this is what is going on and this is a problem. And then that body turned around and said, you know what you need to do? You need to take this to the church level, and so that your church leadership can deal with it internally. And that's why this lawsuit isn't just about the allegations against the one priest, but it's also against the allegations of the body above that didn't do their due diligence in dealing with this matter. Tracy, what about this stands out to you?
I think that Father Michael, I think that his bravery in this is really just unprecedented. And I think I can literally say unprecedented. I can't think of another occasion where a priest has come up and stood and made these kind of accusations openly and in public like this. I mean, think about it. This man stands to possibly, once again, just possibly, this is probably the end of any sort of, if he had higher aspirations within the church, that's over. He probably isn't going to lose his posting or lose his employment, but he might be changed to a different posting is what I mean. He has a lot to stand to lose. And frankly, I think that the rest of the world has more to gain from his example than he personally has to gain from it. So I admire his bravery. And I hope that if there are any other members of the clergy of any religion, that they can have similar bravery and stand up and not allow their silence to protect their abusers.
Absolutely. Like, it is such not instantiate, but such a dug in established boys club, right? Where all of us men we all have this shared experience, and we're all looking out for each other. We're all more or less on the same wavelength. And that's why, we think that it is okay to get away with this stuff because we've all got each other's back. Like, quick story. This has been such a telling moment for me whenever I think about priests within the Catholic Church. I worked at a retreat center for a spell in my 20s. I was vaguely familiar with the local Catholic church from my hometown and the seminarian student who was like working underneath of him just through connections in the family and in the community. I was vaguely aware of who they were. So I'm working a couple hours away at this retreat center, and for once, for whatever reason that year, the annual gathering of all the priests was too big for their own internal places where they have their retreats. So they came to our big ass retreat center to have their mega big priest gathering. Cool, whatever. They all want to have shared rooms, whatever. And so one, like, you can tell that they are there for a good time. There's just like that spirit of like levity, and like there was an actual monk there. And when the luggage cart with all the booze came in, he was jumping up and down and clapping his hands. He was that excited about the booze coming in on the luggage cart. I am serving food on the buffet line, and out of the corner of my eye, I see the young seminarian, like the new guy to the church. He's coming down the line. He recognizes me, and I shit you not, I see him out of the corner of my eye, like, oh, he's like now like trying to change the part of his hair, and he wants to try to hide his identity in the hopes that I won't recognize him, because he is so ashamed, or he doesn't want to be associated with what is going on with all of these priests. And like, that was so eye-opening for me, that all these priests, like, they know what's going on, they know the score, and this guy knew that this was shady shit, and he did not want me to know know not to recognize him. It was so eye-opening. Thank you for letting me go on that tangent because
Stephen, I thought you were going to tell me this guy was going to ask you on a date. And I was like,
no.
He's like,
the
we gotta make sure.
Century. That's what I thought was going to do. He's like, he's making himself pretty, and then he's going to come over and ask me on a date. I was like, twist of the century going on.
No, because we know it wasn't going to go that way because we know the Catholic Church doesn't engage in consent.
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry.
But
you're right. That was my mistake. I forgot.
I did hear a story once. Obviously, the story about how a priest was taken to task for having relationships with the music director in his church because you were supposed to keep that within the circle of priests. That is the standing rule. Anyways, things are super shady, and yeah, these priests. So that's why I really appreciate this priest. This is a boys' club where, of course, like whatever, exposing yourself, groping, fondling. Well, we're all just guys, and we're all horny, and like it's all fine. Like that, if that is the unspoken playbook that they're all expected to play from. If the allegations are true, the fact that he is willing to stand up and say, no, this is not okay. This is the problem. And if you folks aren't willing to do it or to look into this, then I am going to make sure that this does get taken care of. Like that takes a spine. And I really appreciate that. So that bravery is really important, obviously, and it also shows just how broken the system has been. Flabbergasted, how do you see a system that is, it seems, irreparable? Is that fair to say? Is that being too bleak?
No, I mean, the Catholic Church has been around for long enough that if they were ever going to make attempts at repairing anything, they would have done something by now. There's a point in time where it's like sometimes you just got to be done with it. And I'm done with the Catholic Church. I mean, look, I was never part of it, so I guess it means something a little different. But I'm also a little more cynical, I think, on this than both of you are. And that is like, yes, this guy is brave for coming out and speaking, especially considering the consequences that he could potentially face. But on the other hand, is it brave to wait 10 years? Is it brave to wait only until?
Are we shaming the victim? Are we shaming the victim?
Let me. Is he the victim?
Let him go.
Is he the victim in this? I thought he's reporting on someone else. Maybe I misunderstood something in the article.
Reporting his own victim.
Oh, he's the own victim. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
He is.
Okay. No.
He has been assaulted.
You called me out then. Yes.
Okay, good.
And I'm Stephen. Thank you for catching me on that. And then yes, no, you are correct. If he is the victim,
I was about
then
to
yes,
say, it's better than waiting 20 years. I don't know what to tell you.
Yes. No. Okay. No. You got me. You got me. I was wrong. If he is the victim, and as you're saying, he is. So as the victim, No. I feel bad that then yes, I am wrong. It is absolutely brave. If he was not the victim, and he was just reporting on someone else's issue, then that's what my point was. If he was not the victim and he saw something and he just waited 10 years, waited for them to resolve it internally, and he wait 10 years to be unsatisfied before he said something, that wouldn't be bravery. But if you are the victim and you are in that system and you are having this kind of held over you and you're dealing with that abuse and you're waiting for some resolution and you're not seeing it, you're finally like, okay, that's not coming and I actually need to step out and do more. Yes, absolutely. So much applause to the guy.
Does everything we've said make way more sense now?
When you're talking, I mean, it all made sense. It all made sense. It's just that was the one thing. I was like sitting there like, okay. And I was even checking the article while you were talking. I'm like, was he the victim? Because I was like reviewing it. It's like, I didn't catch that part. Because that's the thing that kind of caught me. It's like it is brave to stand up in the face of consequences. When you're not the victim, waiting for 10 years is kind of unacceptable. It's no longer like because why'd you wait so long, right? Like as the victim, there's so many other reasons. And to be fair, and there was also going to be some nuance to my statement. Like there is still bravery. There are still reasons why someone would wait so long that are understandable, but it does take away from like how much applaud you want to give someone in that case. But again, that's a very different story than the person we're talking about here. Then I think this story though does kind of highlight two stories then, right? We have the story of a person who is speaking up against something that should never have happened in the first place, is facing potential consequences for it. And that's a good thing in a way that almost has never been done before in the history of the Catholic Church, as far as I'm aware. That is laudable. The other story in this, though, is it's just another story about the Catholic Church, Catholic churching. And that is like it's so frustrating. It's really hard to look past that sometimes to see some of the positivity, because it's just like, the Catholic Church again. And that's, yeah.
Yeah.
So.
And maybe the third story is that a government is standing up and saying, whatever. I don't want to give it too much credit. Is where does the Catholic Church rank in terms of the most powerful organizations in the world? Click here for the top 10. Number 7 will blow your mind. But for our government to stand up and say, no, you don't get to have special treatment in this. I know you're used to special treatment, but this doesn't apply here. The harm has been done, and this is in the interest of all Canadians to make sure that justice is served. Props to the judge, the justice, to draw the line in the sand there and take a stand for the benefit of any future potential victims who maybe feel powerless and feel like they don't necessarily have means of getting help, recompense, justice, whatever it is that they need for the situation that they're currently in. Thank you so much for joining me on this topic, guys. And thank you very much for you, dear listeners and watchers, for joining us as well. Pop down in the comments. Tell us what you think the solution to Catholic corruption is. What should we do with this Catholic Church? And if you'd like to hear more from the nonprofits, click right where I am thinking. It's not there. No, not there.